Welcome to No Options with Ty Gibson, the show where life's toughest trials become the foundation for your greatest triumphs. Real stories, raw conversations, and the unwavering belief that you were built to overcome. Now, here's your host, Ty Gibson.
Hey guys, I'm here today with a coach that I can't even tell. I don't have enough words to really tell y'all how I feel about Coach Thacker. Coach Thacker has been a mentor of mine since I was little, and had a big influence on me when I was a young kid in Bridge City. But Coach Thacker, thanks for being with us today. Coach, guys, this coach started coaching in 1968. And when I talk about adversity, when I talk about overcoming challenges and a man of faith, Coach Thacker's name comes up, right? This guy has influenced more folks than you can imagine. And it's an honor for me today to sit here with Coach Thacker and just have a couple, have some talks, have some things. Because, what I talk about is, are we growing? Are we dying? Are we getting better every day? What are we doing? Right? Because we can push through. We're all dealing with something. But Coach Thacker has dealt with things his whole life. And I just wanted to share that and have some conversation with Coach Thacker today. Coach, again, thank you for being here. And I want to say, talk a little bit of the many years that you coached in junior high, Bridge City. 37 years, guys. 37 years at one school. You don't hear that anymore, first of all. In fact, he said he went through 8 head coaches. So that'll tell you guys how long he was there. But the kids that you've influenced over those many years, talk a little bit about that.
Well, I love what I did. I was disciplined, and I was a disciplinarian. But I felt like the kids knew who wanted to really be there, and I wanted to be on that list. And I actually loved it so much I thought I was paid to play, and fortunately I was able to stay at the same school and go through many head coaches. And my motto has always been, because I got one arm, that 1 was a necessity and 2 was a luxury. And like I said, I had my hand in cast 3 times. And that was more of a really challenge if I've ever had one. And I found out who my friends were too.
Well, I want to stop you right there. I got to visit with Coach and his son David here before we got started. I thought that was a great story, Coach. He said, as he said, Coach Thacker is one arm coach, and if you come through Bridge City, you remember that one arm because it's probably been in your helmet, it's been on the top of your head, and it was part of some really fun, I would say, some fun jokes that you've done with us. But what was the comment you made a while ago? I thought was really good. You said when that other hand was in a cast, where you found your friends, and your son David said, "Hey, there is a limit. He's a good man. He's a great father, but I'm gonna take him out in the backyard and spray him with a water hose if I have to." But I thought that was a good story. So, Coach, talk a little bit about that too. You talk about having a cast, having challenges, but talk a little bit how you just overcame having that one arm.
Well, I was telling you. I became a Christian in 1972. And you know why? That was a 6th grade kid that invited me to church because I took him duck hunting and he missed the ducks and I let out with some bad words. And he said he knew I wasn't any Christian, so he started inviting me to church. And he changed my whole life. And, everybody's going to go through adversity in this life. And it's how you handle it. I had a great mother. She was a tremendous influence in my life because she wouldn't let me be handicapped. And I had some brothers that helped me along. They threw balls at my head, so I got where I could catch that ball, flip it under my arm, and throw it back faster than they could hit me in the head. And, I remember one time trying out for Little League Baseball. And when I went out there, one kid approached me and he said, hey, what are you doing out here? You can't play baseball. You only got one arm. I said, kid, I've been having balls thrown at my head. I'll play circle around you, you know. And I did. And I happened to I was on the All-Stars in Little League and Babe Ruth League. Actually, in Babe Ruth League, you know, one-armed man can't swing up or swing down. And you have to swing level. And my arm got big, and you know, I like to arm wrestle, and I like to, and I could do a one-arm push-up, and but I was batting champion that year. I had a 610 batting average. I had 25 hits out of 41 times at bat that summer in the Babe Ruth League. And the next year, I like to cut my foot off, trying to dam up Rodair Gully out by the airport, and end up missing most of my 15-year-old. But anyway, I as a coach, I found out that I could turn my arm sideways and slip it through their nose guard and then turn it back, and it wouldn't come out. And if they weren't paying attention or they were watching the girl, I'd jiggle her head up and down and get their attention. And it was not done to harm anybody. I probably couldn't do that today. They'd probably put you in jail.
Yeah, that's right.
But anyway, the kids loved it, especially when it was somebody else. And they get him, coach, get him. But
well, coach, I'm going to tell you, I can talk firsthand on the nub in the helmet. It was a lot of fun to watch somebody else, but it wasn't always fun to be you. But I, you know, and before this, we were also talking about, yes, you're probably right. Nowadays, they probably wouldn't allow it. But I tell you what, I think some of the discipline and some of the things that you did with these young kids for 37 years has made an impact on this on a lot of the kids that have come through Bridge City, and I really appreciate that. You know, but as we talk about adversity, Coach, you know, I didn't know my whole time around you how you became how you lost your arm, right? Yeah. And to hear it, you lost it at 6 years old, right? On the back of a tractor.
Just a couple of weeks before I started school.
Wow.
And I actually went to school all bandaged up. And we had brought a farm tractor, and my dad did to mow a cow pasture we had there in Needleman. And we were all taking turns riding on the plow attachment in the back. And well, actually, I'd taken my turn, and the kid in the neighborhood, he went home, and his mother told him he couldn't do it. And so I took his place with my brother, and we hit a low spot, and that knocked us off balance. And instead of just stepping off the plow attachment, I reached over and grabbed a cleat on the wheel, and it rolled me over, and I couldn't get off the wheel, and it threw me in the blade, and it chewed my arm off, went down my body, chewed half my toe off. Actually, I ended up kicking field goals in high school with that foot because I could almost turn the toe straight up. And but then started a challenge in life. And when you're that young, I could imagine it would have been really hard. I would have been up in age, but I wanted to do everything my brother and them was doing, so she had to get me a right-hander's glove, and first bought one that was too small because it was too tight, and I wanted a big one that I could get my hand in and out of. And I learned to catch, flip it under the arm, and grab it and throw it. And my brother was trying to hit me in the head before I could get my glove back on, and that made me faster. And so I learned all kinds of challenges, but along with that came a lot of stories. You know, I taught driver's education as part of it. I used to tell the girls I lost my arm teaching driver's ed to girls. They made me nervous, and I started chewing on my fingernails to see where I ended up. And and lost it a lot of other ways, and about a different way every day, you know. But I just I felt like I could do anything that they did. Now I've had some challenges. I found out as I was growing up with a car that I couldn't put points in a car with one hand. It took more than the one hand, and but I tried a lot of things.
Well, Coach, and I know that, you know, hearing you have a lot of things to overcome, but one of the things that I try to talk about when someone's dealing with something, you know, we all have ways we deal with trying to get through adversity, right?
Yeah.
Today's world, we're all, like you said, we're all dealing with something. What would you tell our crowd? What is something that you could say to our group that says when you're dealing with adversity, when you're looked at in a different way, or you're faced with something that maybe not everybody is, what would you recommend to
Well, I feel like in anything, you know, I recently went through back surgery, and I had to have pretty extensive back surgery. And when I was over in rehab for 2 weeks and had to learn how to basically walk all over again, I learned in this life, you got a choice when bad things happen. You can be bitter or you can be better. And I chose always to be better.
That's awesome.
I want to be an example to somebody that that's hurting, that you can overcome things. And actually losing an arm, it's hard to say, but it's been a blessing in my life. My life be totally different because I got a million stories. I got a million one-arm stories, and people said I should have wrote a book. And you know, I mean everything from one I tell a lot is that I made up, and that I met a girl over at Lamar that had one arm, and I got up enough nerve to ask her out on a date. Didn't realize that we got on the date, she was missing the wrong arm, and I had to back down the street, hold hands with her, and so you know, just more of these, but you know what? There was a time that there's a farmer's mercantile over in Orange, a little like a general store over by the courthouse, and I opened the door, and there was a one-armed lady, and she was missing the correct arm. And I did not know. I officiated basketball for 13 years. I never did football because I couldn't signal a safety, you know. And but anyway, I didn't know that I had officiated her basketball games. She's about 25 years younger than me at Orange Field. But anyway, I said, "Hey, lady, where you been all my life?" And she starts laughing, and I told her about dating a one-armed girl that missing the wrong arm. And we got to talking, and I asked her, I said, have you been swimming since you lost that arm? She says, no. I said, well, I must be God sent. And we started drawing a crowd, and I was telling her, I said, I jumped in a cold pool over my friend's apartment one time in the wintertime, and I was swimming, and I didn't realize it was that cold, and hypothermia was setting in, and I was swimming in circles trying to get back to the bank with one arm. And I told myself, you've got to learn how to swim in a straight line. And I figured it out. I said, and it may help you. I said, it's like this. You swim one, two. And I said, you can go in a straight line if you double time on the short side. And then she's laughing. And then I tell her several other things, but I see them putting grain in my car, and I said, I've got to go. But I said, before we go, I said, you want to do something crazy? She said, what? I said, let's rub nubs. And so we rubbed nubs. And it was about 2 weeks later. And I was at a track meet at West Orange. And I went to the concession stand and I heard this voice, "Hey, Coach," right up. And it was her. And so, she was able to laugh. I was able to laugh.
That's right.
But to me, that's what the world needs.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can't. I mean, I know there's a lot of guys probably and women that know that have gone through Bridge City have heard a lot of your jokes. If you've gone through Bridge City, you've heard them, and that's and I tell you, it was quite. Thinking back now and bringing back memories of those days were really good, and again, I give you credit for a lot of that because you've made us really who we are and be able to push through. I mean, who are we to look at, right? When we've got all our limbs and you're in there making hoops, and you were telling the story earlier about serving. Someone said they can't serve over the net, and you showed them how to do that.
Yeah,
those kind of stories are what really. I just want to say thank you for all that you've done there. Now, let's talk a little bit. I know you coached and you made all this impact for years, right? And now you're still today making impact on people all over. I mean, I know you're doing some prison ministry. I know you're doing coaches outreaches. So talk a little bit about what you're doing now.
Well, I was blessed with that opportunity. Just like we used to have Fellowship of Christian Athletes. We took them up to Colorado to camps and stuff. And now they got older. They've started a coaches outreach to families because there's a lot of hours spent on a football field and athletics, and some of it's a strain on a lot of families. So they've started this coaches outreach, and they have a summer camp that the husband and wife can go to and rebuild their marriage and everything. And but we do a weekly Bible study, and Coach Smalley here in Bridge City, when he was the offensive coordinator before he went over to Orangefield, and now he's come back to Bridge City. He asked me if I would do that, and we started, and I've been doing it for I guess 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And then he moved to Orangefield, and not only did I do Bridge City, I went over there to Orangefield on another day. And then one of the guys that was really involved in it had too large an area, and he asked if me and Bill Dixon would help him out. So we've got it placed in Little Cypress and West Orange and Vidor and Bridge City and Orangefield, and this past year Needland, and so it's at it's in East Chambers, and so I don't have a great deal of time, and I'm still involved in my church and everything, and but I can't sit still.
Well, Coach, I tell you, I mean, just like I said, the impact that you made us as young kids, and now you're doing it with this young thing. A lot of the young, probably a lot of the young guys that you work with for years now, you're still working with them in other areas, and coaches. I feel like now coaches are, there's so much they're expected to do and make everything. You got to now, and no one's really pouring into them, and that's awesome that you're able to do that. And then talk a little bit about your prison ministry. I think that's really.
I love doing that. I've seen so many lives changed. I was over at GIS for like 23 years, and then COVID hit. We got put out of the prison for 2 years. And now, because of my back, it was pretty far back to the educational building. So I switched over to the block unit now, and still doing the same thing, pouring into guys' lives, telling them there's a better way. And one of my best friends now is Tommy Pham, and he's a Vietnamese, and he was facing he had been in for 24 years and facing habitual criminal charges, never to get out. He was a Buddhist. He wasn't a Christian. And he got into class, and God began to change his life. And the guy that he worked for, Joey, same thing. And now they're home builders, and they'll hire only ex-prisoners and changing their lives. And he loves the Lord. And I love that guy.
That's awesome.
Like he's my own brother. It's wonderful to see what Christ is doing in their lives. But I've had back trouble. I now have a buggy that pulls up like a suitcase, and we get it out, and I'll ride into prison because it's too far to walk. But and you say, well, when you go to all that trouble, if there's a will, there's a way. And I want my life to count for something. Yeah, I don't want to leave this life, and I want to hear him say, "You good and faithful servant." And that's not to say that I don't mess up. No, I'm far from it. I need His grace every day.
And you're a living example of what we need to be doing more of, giving back and changing lives. And Coach, you've impacted a lot of us and still are. So I publicly just want to say thank you for what you're doing.
Yeah.
And
thank the good Lord, because all the glory goes to Him, not to me. Yeah.
I hope people hear. Now, you said something a while ago that I thought was really cool. You can either be bitter or you can get better.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great statement for us to live on, right? I mean, we're all going to deal with something. Some of us woke up this morning probably not feeling good. Some of us woke up with different things, financial, maybe relationship issues, whatever it may be. But you know what? Life is hard, but we've got to stay encouraged. We've got to remember that there's a better way, right? There's a better path, but we've got to. But what I would say is, Coach, you've been a good example of that, and again, I just want to say thank you.
Yeah. Can I tell you one other thing?
Absolutely.
The reason I got involved in prison ministry, my mother, I had two cousins, and they come out of a broken home, and they did a crime, and they were actually they kidnapped the owner of the Dallas paper's daughter-in-law, and they were apprehended. They never harmed her. She was turned loose and blocked running out. But back then there was no there was all these open-ended crimes, and nobody ever abused them. Well, these two brothers were given 5,005-year sentence, never to get out. My mother would write them and send them Bibles, and she got me to reading a letter, and I got interested. I was a young Christian, and I took her one day to prison with me. We went to see him. And late that day, she prayed heaven down, and in that room, it was great. And the next week, she died. And it's like God rolled that burden for them two boys over on me. And what are you going to do about this? And so I never knew what to do, anything. I mean, you may be sitting out there listening to this, you don't know what to do. I didn't either. I didn't know what to do to help them. But I started pursuing it. And when you take a step, I think God takes a lot of steps. And I were able to get the right lawyer. And it's just really a miracle and Woody, my cousin, came to live with me, with my kids and the dog and my grandson. And he's been out 26 years. He was in there 26 years of that. And doing great, married, got a bunch of grandkids on. And that got me interested in prison ministry.
Yeah.
His brother, we were never able. He had a stroke and died in the hospital where we could get him out. And but I believe in a miraculous God. Too many great things have happened in my life, and like I said, he can use all your adversity. He can, I'm going through things right now with my back and my breathing, and with my leg, and having fluid on my leg. But I'm going to be 81 in August, and there's a lot of people already gone, and I'm still here, and I'm still going strong, and like I said, I'm not going to let discouragement get to me, and most of everything I owe to the Lord, and just wonder what's the next adventure.
That's right.
And
Wow. Well, I mean, this is good stuff, Coach. This is stuff I think we need to all hear. But what I always say too is there's, and you said it multiple times. I mean, we can look at adversity as we're done, right? I mean, when you lost your arm again, you looked at it as you had no options then, right? I mean, we had to figure something out, and that's where I go back to my no options approach, guys. There's a lot of times we feel like we have no options, but we take that adversity and make it into something like Coach Thacker's done with what he's done with the one arm situation. I mean, for goodness sake, he was the kicker. He was a great kicker back in his high school days with a missing toe. So I mean, we can make the best of whatever we got, and I hope that you guys take away from this is just when we run into no options and we think we have no options, there's options. And I just want you guys to know that you can push through, and there's people out there that are dealing with way more than what you or I ever thought about, right? So continue your push in your fight, and we thank you again, Coach Thacker. And man, it's been a blessing to sit here and visit with you guys today, and I'm excited for you guys. So go live life as though you have no options. Take care. Hey guys, thanks so much for listening to No Options. If this episode spoke to you, please take a moment and leave a review. And more importantly, please share it with someone who may need to hear it. You can find more stories, resources, and ways to connect over at my website, tygibson.com. And that is Gibson with a P, TYGIPSON.com. Remember, no matter where you are, your story isn't over yet if you live like you have no options. I'll see you next time.
You know Ty Gibson is an entrepreneur, a relentless survivor. Did you know he's also a powerhouse speaker? After overcoming 3 transplants of juvenile diabetes, he built thriving businesses with one mantra: no options. Ty transforms adversity into action. His keynotes ignite audiences with real-world resilience and 30-plus years of sales mastery. Are you ready to inspire your team? Book Ty Gibson today as your next speaker. You can call 512-944-4780 or head over to tygibson.com. That's Gibson with a P. It's time for your event to share the motivation that is no options.